Hello, it is Lord Haywire. I'm streaming some 2D4X today, which I do on most weekends. I sound funny. I even like talked to myself for a second to make sure the sound seemed right, but it doesn't. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it sounds right to you guys. It sounds very warm. I'm gonna use the term warm. Yeah, it sounds like, I don't know, like I'm really up in my ears. It's quite strange. So let's see, what are we doing today? So 2D4X is a strategy game I'm working on. It's open source. I don't think I said that last time until way deep into the stream. And I actually got sidetracked yesterday. We started talking about the whole pirate software controversy. Got it on a phone call and stuff. But we might do like some sort of things, not in my normal stream, but like other days do like gossip. We'll gossip. I don't know. I think that we beat the pirate software topic to death there yesterday. But yeah, we'll come up with something. It was kind of fun. I'm a big talker. I like to talk, so that was fun. Yeah, but you know, it was unexpected, so it was. I did a poor job of showing things on my screen. Well, I should have had the other people in there because there was 3 people talking. I was one of them, like on the screen talking and stuff. But whatever. That's not what we do here, right? We work on this strategy game that I'll have done in 5 years. That's what we will do. And so yesterday we basically what we got going here is I'll just try to make this brief. I don't think we need this open, this storage HBox, but. Oh, you know what? You guys can hear my music. I forgot. So I had the desktop audio on yesterday. So my whole start of the string, you guys can hear that I'm listening to Amanda Palmer. I usually listen to it really loud, so I'm glad I didn't have it that loud this time. But yeah, normally, as I'm starting to blush for some reason. Normally, I don't have any music on, so don't expect that because, you know, copyright. I don't have my videos monetized, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think. For YouTube, for Twitch, it does. Twitch gets very upset about music. And you can do like another channel and then like, so you can hear it during the stream, but then you can't hear it in the video. And I just don't want to deal with that shit, so I just don't have any music. I thought about getting permission from some artists to play their songs while I stream, but that's also a whole other thing. So whatever. Anyway, strategy game. What are we doing here? We are so this is a strategy game that's inspired by like Dominions, CK3, Paradox Games, things like that. Right now we just have Oregon, and this is going to take place in North America. It's post-apocalyptic. It's written in, or it's made in Godot, C#. We have these 7 counties as test counties, and right now we need to make it so that we can save the game, load the game, and then we're going to put some developer options in here. Yesterday there was some weirdness with the pause. I don't know what it was. I tried to work while I was talking. It didn't work at all. Like, I mean, besides my normal yammering, having a conversation with people and work on code was impossible for me. Anyways, so what we need to do is we're working on basically a start menu because we need the start menu. We need to break apart the game. Currently, there's just the main game. It has everything in there. You hit play. You don't pick like a new person. You don't pick your faction, whatever. The game plays. It's set. We need to kind of break that all apart so that we can also figure out exactly what we need to save, what's getting generated, etc. So this is the new thing we're working on. This is just, you know, everything's ugly in this game because we don't give a shit right now. But we need a start game, and we need a load, and we have an exit. I think exit does work, so that's, whoops. We don't want this start. Now we have to wait. What we want to do here is, so we have a scene in between this scene and that main thing, and when we click start, it goes to this in-between scene, which is currently nothing. And what it's only going to do is it's going to have a status label, which we have built in here already. and it will just show the status of it as it generates the game. And then when it's done generating the game, it's going to save all that information to disk. And then when we hit play on this other thing, this thing here, it will load all that stuff from disk. So you'll have like a save file generated, and then we'll have to figure out what is getting changed as well, because things get changed regularly in this, and then we'll have to resave. I was actually reading on Reddit, someone had a save game question about saving mass amounts of data, and everyone, you know, I was worried that saving mass amounts of data would be a problem, and I should just update the save file just what I've changed. But a lot of people were suggesting, you know, don't worry about it, just save everything every time. And that's what I do in my other game that has, you know, it's still very early on, but it has way less information than this. So maybe that's what we'll do, and we'll just see how long it takes to, you know, save everything versus save nothing. There's, you know, you've probably played indie games where when you hit save, it takes 3 minutes. You know, I don't want that to happen. So we'll have to see, and we'll do that as we get to it. So but right now we're working on this, and what we're doing is we're moving all of these things over here, and every time, so we've only been working on this for a couple of days, but each thing we touch causes massive changes have to happen. So that's kind of what we did yesterday before I got sidetracked. So right now, when a faction is destroyed, which can happen in war, we took care of that, which was kind of a big deal. So the next thing, and I was thinking about this, so the reason we had to take care of that part was because back over to here, we have all of these generation things built in where we generate the factions and stuff. And so this is what we were going to try to get to. We need to move over this faction generation, and we might break this down into smaller parts, because I already see that we're doing something with this county improvement data. I don't know why it's exported, or what we're even doing with it. So we get all the factions from disk. Create faction node, which is, so each faction has an actual node here in the remote. Whoops. What are we running here? We can't do it with this. Here, we can close this thing. We need to run the normal thing here. Yeah, I sound totally different today. I wonder what's going on. I should have unplugged and replugged it in my headset. I know, so occasionally I get this like crackle. And I noticed in like mid-conversation yesterday that the crackle was happening. So it's going to create a node for each faction. Currently there's only 4 factions, but there'll be, you know, like 500 factions. So this will take some time. Not much time, probably like a second, but the Godot had this issue for a while that if you created a bunch of nodes, it kind of choked. We'll have to see. We'll have to figure out the best way to do that, but so we're creating this faction node. It looks like we instantiate from a pack scene. We assign. We're passing in. How does this work? So we need to move this. This is in a for loop or something? Yeah, it is. So we're getting this, we're reading this faction, we're reading this. Yeah, we're reading this from disk, and as we read it from disk, we create the faction node, and we pass in this thing, and this is in a for loop. So we got to go. I always have to recheck all my work here because I can never remember what the fuck's going on. We name the node, the actual node, the faction name, so that we can find it easy. So the reason why we're doing this whole thing over here, there's 2 reasons actually. One is that for when we're debugging, it's easier to find the faction node, but also when we have events that run and get fired because they're here. So whoops. So let's see. Then we add the child to the faction parent. So that's perfect. That seems good. I just need to double check what we're doing here. Then we create faction goods dictionary. Okay, so for this, so each faction has its own list of goods. And so we're taking this from this auto load, which we already fixed that like last weekend, and we're assigning, this is their faction goods, so we're assigning all of their faction goods. So that's like money and whatnot. And we're giving them, this is just for testing. And we probably should make this, I'm going to put a note in here, and I'm going to put a to-do in here, actually. Make a developer option that allows these numbers to be changed. And so let's do this as well. I already added one thing to this morning. We added, where was this? Options. We, as in me, we need to have that checkbox that's in globals for always win battles, which we used yesterday. We'll want that in the developer options. So we'll do dev options. Make a developer option that allows these numbers, which is that allows starting faction goods to goods amount to be changed. Some of this stuff is going to be annoying, honestly. It's going to be annoying when we set this. All right. I got to skip this song that you guys can't hear. There we go. Sometimes, like when I was a kid, I thought it was cool, but I don't think it's cool at all anymore. You know when some songs start with like a conversation or like the band's talking? Like I used to think, oh, it's interesting to see the how the band operates when they're talking to each other. Now it's just like, fuck you, let me hear this song. All right. So yes, we have a to-do in here. So that's this stuff. We need to be able to set that. So then what do we do after that? Add factions to diplomacy war. So this is like a matrix is what I was calling it. That's going to show the different factions. And if you're at war with them, we're going to have more diplomatic stuff. So this is kind of like a placeholder, but we might change this to a struct, but I haven't figured out how structs work. I don't think. Then we add starting. So we never add. Okay, so the faction goods are added here because it's faction level, and the counties we must add the county stuff elsewhere. I just want to make sure everything's working over here. I usually double check. Looks like everything is working. All right. So then this goes through all of the research that we have. This isn't read from disk, huh? Yeah, I guess not. I mean, this up here is read from disk, but it's earlier, so we're getting this from here. So I guess that's fine. I was in deep thought there for a second. I was like, man, maybe we should read these from disk and have all factions somewhere. But then yesterday there was a parallel list, I guess they call them, and that's bad. So we got rid of that yesterday. So this all looks like it's fine. What we need to do is break the game now and move this faction generation over to. Man, this is going to be brutal. I think I said that like 10 times yesterday. We need to have a node in this thing. So let's add a node. And then we're going to call this something. I guess we don't. I was going to put a node, like a node for this and then a subnode with the other stuff, but I guess we won't. We'll just call this faction generation. We can do that later if we need to. And then we'll attach this script. What is this? This is not in alphabetical order. What order was that in? Okay, so we have faction generation here. Faction node pack scene. We're gonna definitely need that. All right, so this is I forgot yesterday. This is the thing. We are gonna create these faction nodes here. No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't create the faction nodes here. But the problem is everything after this needs the faction nodes. I think. And see that, well, this one isn't using the faction nodes. We're actually adding this as they're getting built. We could make a temporary list without a faction node that is saved to disk. And then when you run the main game, the faction node is created. I feel like that's, what about up here? Not there. Man, then we're back to having that parallel list. It would be temporary, though. A temporary list, it seems, I think it's fine. Oh, wait, we are going through this again. Why? That is, so we're going... for each research item, check if it's done. All right, let's see here. So this is the only problem, is this faction, add factions to diplomacy war. I guess let's double check here. I think I just looked at this, but yeah, that one's fine. So this is the only problem, is we're going back through these nodes. The order is important. I like to put that in there. It's always important, but I like to put it in there because occasionally I'll just be like, oh, you know what would fix this if I move this to here, and then everything fucking breaks. Okay, so let's figure this out here. So globals doesn't exist at this point either. So we have two problems when we move this over. And you know, I don't even think we need to run this start part. I think we can just play this scene. And it will give us all sorts of errors if it starts at all. Yeah, well, one error was enough. So with this, we're already going through every faction, and then wait, not this one. We're going through every faction, and then we're doing every faction again. But we don't need the facts. We don't need the faction nodes at this point. So the reason why I'm thinking about this so intensely is because if we don't need them, why do we... The other scene definitely needs them. So we could just do a list, but once again, we have that parallel list, but who gives a shit, right? We're just going to blow that list away. Okay, so let's do... I think we should... All right, we're going to do this. All right. We're just going to break it. I was trying to think of the least painful way to do this, but I think we just got to make it painful. We're going to take this off of here. So this is going to be absolutely... Now, we can't run the main game until we fix this faction generation. And we don't even have a way to get from the from the game generation scene to the main thing. We could add a node that does that. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. As we read this from disk, we're gonna have a list. We're going to have a C# list. I still don't know what this is for. Like if I comment this out, what happens? Nothing? Great. We are going to have to add it. No, we won't need this either. So this can also go. So what we're going to need is a private list of faction data. Faction data list. Faction data? And since this is a list, we can just do this. We'll get rid of this because we shouldn't be calling this from other places. We'll leave these in here just for a second. Nah, we'll just get rid of it. Okay, so this is create node from, we're going to rename this to add faction data. Okay, so we have a different problem here. Just as because I'm gonna forget. This should be create faction nodes. That should be first. Anyway, it's nothing attached. Let's put a node in. Let's put a thing in too here, because otherwise I'm gonna fucking forget. In main create faction nodes script. Let's create faction nodes script. You guys get what I'm saying here. Move to top. Okay. What am I mid? Add faction data to faction data. I always do the N thing where I leave a capital N list. Okay, so that's going to be that. We're going to get rid of this. We're passing in a new faction data, and it's just going to be... I probably don't really need a method for this, but we're going to do it anyways. Faction data list dot add. It's not a dictionary or anything. It's just a list. Is that going to be a problem later? I don't think so. We don't give a fuck about that. We don't give a fuck about that. This is all we're doing? Okay. So then after it goes, so this is, it's reading it from disk. Oh, yeah. So why is this hard coded in here? And we have this faction path. Oh, I was having all sorts of issues reading it from disk. Oh my God, I forgot about that. From reading it from disk when it was exported. So that's why these are all commented out this way. I had to like open this differently. I think I've fixed that problem though, because I do. Let's look at my other. I do this a bunch of times now, and I don't have any problems. So that was like some noob shit. Let's go to. It's actually in our auto load wherever I put that thing. I probably have that open, right? We don't need this shit open. We will need that. I don't know what that is, so we're just going to ignore that. Story events, we don't need that. Here's our auto load. We got to rename this stuff. This is driving me nuts. I like to put the S at the end of datas, but because I think it's kind of funny. But whatchamaffuck. Writer doesn't like it. So read resources from disk. We should just be able to pass in a directory. Like, why can't we just do this? Yeah, we'll do this in faction generation, I guess. I was thinking maybe we do it in auto load. No, this is a temporary list. So do we need all this crap? So we have this. Okay, so I did this kind of weird because it's early. So what we would do instead, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're really going to break this. Why are we making this null? Why is this here? Okay, this is what we're going to do. What do we have? Okay, all right. we're gonna call this all. We're gonna rename this to all faction data list. Then down here, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We're gonna say all faction data list equals. Whoa, did I not just paste? Oh, I must have. Go back to my auto load here. We're gonna copy this. We're gonna put this here, and then we're gonna cut you. We're gonna put you here. Oh, this is an auto load, so we gotta call. We gotta do an instance here, and then this is gonna be this directory. But we want to. Man, I'm decimating. I'm decimating this faction directory is what I think I'm calling things. Directory. Yeah, I'm decimating this thing. What does this one look like, though? Is it different? No, it just has a slash at the end. Does this one have a slash at the end? It does. So then this is going to be faction directory. This is going to be a faction data. What's your problem? Oh, yours a lowercase f. Come on. All right. What is your problem? What do you want? Create property faction data. What? Wait, isn't this supposed to be like this? What the hell am I doing wrong here? What? Yeah, okay. We'll figure it out here. Here we go. There we go. So this is going to be a faction data. We don't need this because this is all already done. This is already done. This is done. This is done. All right, then we're to a new problem. For each faction data in this, then we're gonna, what the fuck? Then we're gonna do this, KD. We're missing, something has broken down here. We have too many of these or something. What? That looks right. We have not enough. This is the problem. If what? This doesn't even exist anymore. We don't need that anymore. All right, we're cutting down on the issues. All right, so what is this? We need an I. We're setting the faction ID, so we need to do this in a for loop then, instead of a for each. So that's fine. Who gives a shit, right? For, except I never can remember how to do for loops. And I used to use for loops constantly, and then I stopped and I do for each, and then I now have to look up how to do a for loop. It's some basic shit, right? It's right here is what we need. We're not going to use I, though. I mean, we are going to use I, but we're not going to use whatever. If I is less than all faction data list count, and then we're going to go all faction data. We need the I in here. So this will get, see, this will like count them down. And then we're going to check if this faction data is a player. And then if it is, we're going to assign this in globals, except globals doesn't exist right at this point. So we're going to have to put into auto load the player. So there's a when we get to multiplayer, we're going to be needing to save this shit all over the place. So I guess we'll just, the player one is the most important. And we're also going to be fucking with like setting things later. So autoload, I guess, will work. I think we should put this, I was thinking at the top because it's really important. but how can you be made private? We use this somewhere, I thought. I wonder if we're reading it from we have some other dumb thing going on there. To do, figure out why this can be private. It should be used in population generation. All right. But okay, so let's. I'm filled with okays, Well, let's put it down here. Public faction data player. This is going to be catastrophically bad. We use this so much, and it's set to globals. But we need this saved somewhere, and this is where it needs to be saved. Like, besides to disk, we could load it into globals actually after this, but this needs to be here, and we might as well pass it around. We'll go auto. I don't know what I'm doing. And then we're gonna do this. And then we'll do this. And then we'll do this. We'll do all these. And then we're not passing in starting research. How? How? Yeah, we need to pass in something here. So I think what I did it a weird way with this faction ID that was up here that I deleted, I think I was like assigning. Sometimes I feel like passing in variables is weird. Like, because I do it so much. Like, basically, so what I've learned from my experience here of learning how to program is that if I get excited about some new thing that I've learned and I start using it a bunch, it's generally I'm overusing it and it's wrong. And I should use it less. And so what's happened? So that makes me fearful. I can't roll forward on my chair. What makes me it's because I'm trying to roll over my fucking cord. I hate this goddamn corded stuff. But I'm gonna have to. I say this all the time. I'm gonna have to buy a new headset that doesn't have a cord, but they don't have side tone, or they cost $1 million. Anyways, so I'm always like feel like I'm doing this wrong, but I feel that maybe it isn't. It isn't wrong. So we go through all of the research. We're using this faction data. We're getting the ID, and we're assigning the ID to the. Why the fuck are we assigning the ID to the faction to the research? Who knows? What is going on here? This is like a little staircase. So we're having a research item. We make a copy of it. This is definitely important. Where we assign the faction. So that means that why do we need to know which faction owns this research? I wonder if this was for a test or something. Anyways, we copy this over. I'm going to put a thing in here. Why do we need to know this? Why is the faction ID assigned to the research item? It should be in its own list that's attached to the, like, that's what we're doing. Yeah, right here. This was for, let's look if we can find this used somewhere. See, this is the problem with looking for old code. Faction ID. What is this? Oh, this is just for the copy. Why do we have that? All right, I'm gonna put it. Today. I'm getting into. I'm doing lots of to-dos. The fuck is this? To do. What the fuck is this? So I have in the past. I have just deleted something when I'm curious. I like, what the fuck is this, and I just delete it. Then catastrophic issues happen later, and I wonder why it's deleted or comment out. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And we can just get rid of this thing. Okay, we're gonna have a lot of to-dos. We're gonna have to go through them at some point. Anyways, so then we make a copy of it. You got to do this weird copy thing because duplicate doesn't do shit. Duplicate does not work the way you would think it would with Godot. Casper, how's it going? Yeah, no, no, that's exactly. I get all excited. I'm like, oh my god, did you know that you can do this? And then I start doing it, and then like 10% of it's good, and then 90% has to. When I learn something else, I can go back and fix it all. All right, so if that is good, we set this as done. This is kind of a weird place to put this note, but that's fine. And that test, I'm just going to delete this test. Fuck this test. And then it checks if it's done. Isn't that what we're doing right here? Isn't that what we're doing? Oh, I see what we're doing. Okay, now that's fine. All right, so this should have catastrophically broken the one part, but now it's kind of set up for the faction generation thing. So let's see what happens when we run this. We're going to be getting bugs, I'm sure, but oh, I didn't drag over the node. Oh, we don't need the node thing anymore. It's gone. We got a bug. But we did get some stuff loaded. We got one faction loaded. Okay, so we don't want this. Oh, right, the dictionary thing. So the reason why we created that list was just so we could do this. All faction, all, what? Yeah. that was a long stream of gossip. Yes, I have recovered. So these are faction data. Faction data. I was wondering why it wouldn't let us put this in here. For each faction data in all faction data lists. Why don't you like this? Because we're passing in a faction data. We need to have this. This will be like a matrix. This is so we're making sure that every faction has every other faction in a list is a dictionary. In a dictionary, so that they can, we're going to build that out to be like a grid of diplomacy. Diplomacy faction. And then what is your problem? We are static. And then we're going to go diplomacy. We don't even need this faction data because we were pulling it from the node before. So this goes there. And then we're supposedly, wait, war faction. Wait, what? I guess we could have just called this war. Wait, what are we doing here? Yeah, we could have just called this war. War. And then this can go. And then we'll just take this faction data and we'll take this and we'll add it. It's going to add itself to it, though. I wonder if it always did that. I mean, it must have. Um, what? I didn't have a check for that. Um, there's probably an easier way to compare things than looking and get. What branch are we on? This would have been yesterday's code, and this is in. This would have been in faction generation, though. Right? Well, that's so. I want that to be an option. Is that you can use? I want more options for diplomacy. Yeah, I did. I didn't. I don't have a check for this. It just goes through and it would add itself in there. I was thinking maybe I just deleted it on accident, but no. It would have. That's strange. So what we could do is if war faction data is not equal to faction data, then do this thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I need this comment there. Now that I know that comments are bad. So it's going to go through all of the factions. So we have a faction data. It's going to go through all of the factions. If it's not, I'm wondering if I had that for some other reason, but I can't remember why I would have that. It's going to add them into a dictionary that's on the faction by faction name. What is it, a string or something? In a bool. That sounds dumb. All right. This is like we needed this for, this is going to definitely expand out. Definitely. What is your problem now? You want some like a lambda or some shit. All right. Perfect. Whatever. That's not a lambda. Well, no, there is one. They always want lambdas. All right. So then let's run this again and see what happens here. Yeah, I definitely. So I want to watch more code reviews because I learned some things. You know, we got a little bit farther. We got some sort of research thing done. Complete research. So this is also getting this from the nodes, which we don't need anymore. So we're going to go see. We're even like pulling the faction data from stuff. Oh, here's that. Where was it getting this information from though? Because this was empty. When I commented, I noticed this was empty. What is this thing called? Complete research? Okay, so after we do the yeah, so what this does is once we've gone through the research and completed it, like because there's some research that starts completed, it assigns the county improvements to the faction county improvements, like the ones that you can build to start the game. Let's fix this thing though. We don't need this faction shit anymore, but we do need. This is under research item data? What? Okay, so the reason why this is under research item data is because you can complete research later. You know what I mean? It's not just completed at the beginning of the game. So what we'll do, what did this thing look like before? We were just grabbing from the faction ID. Is that why we had to assign that faction ID? Is for this? I bet you it is. So we were assigning this faction ID for this complete thing. Yeah, at least we're not about to use a magic number. What we can do instead, except I was going to blow that list away. So we either need to have two different methods or move this method to like auto load or something. I don't want to move everything to auto load because I just feel like that's bad. I mean, we already have that crazy globals thing that we're going to slowly take apart. Uh, not everything, but a lot of it is going to go away. So this part is for the second. So this is for the main scene. We're on the scene before this. It doesn't have this information. We have the list. So we could pass in an int. There's ways we can do this, but I think we should just write a new thing. Let's just write a new thing. Where is this complete thing in here? Here it is right here. So this is we'll leave this one because this is needed in the main game, but and then yeah, definitely we want to have a new thing here. And Steakhouse, how's it going? You know, we've been sharing, the three of us that were talking yesterday have been sharing like funny memes about him. We kind of beat the horse dead. The dead horse, we beat it. we beat it good. I love gossiping and like work and shit. I know that that's like a bad thing, but I know I'm the IT guy, so I call everyone in the company. And I know all the gossip. Now, there's somebody who's much better with the gossip, but I know a lot of the gossip. Comments are good. Sometimes a must. Everything, explaining obvious things is bad though. So that's the problem. Is I've been explaining obvious things, and then also, so what I took away from that, because I think you're right. What I took away from that is there are certain times where I should make whatever the thing I'm doing more obvious instead of me writing a comment above it that says what it does, if that makes sense. Since so it's like so basically like this thing, it should explain why I'm doing that. Yeah, exactly. Well, I need to comment it or make a better method or whatever that makes it more obvious. What we're doing? I got sidetracked. I got my brain was, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that was. But I had fun talking to other people, and I was thinking, like we said at the end of that, it's probably do like a different, not one of my coding stream, but probably the same channel, but like a different thing where we talk about something. All right, so we're going to write a new thing that says complete research here that's not going to be part of this, because this one we need, and it's kind of, yeah, and this it's going to be similar to this, but it will be different. And I think it will just be better to have a separate thing in faction generation, because we also can, I just blew up that one. So we'll just put this in here, and we'll rename this though. And then we're going to pull that list from the auto. Like, I don't know, we had like another list in here. Right. Well, so I was trying, I don't know if you guys could see me struggling, but I was trying to program while paying attention to the conversation, and I couldn't do it. It was just impossible for me. I was just like, I'd like select something and I'd be trying to think and I'd be like, no. Yeah, so like I can do it with chat, but I can't do it when I'm actually in a vocal conversation. So we'll get rid of this thing. What is this check if research is done thing? We can still use that because this one should just be yeah. So if this is done, then what's done? What? So that will work. Let's I don't like that these are going to be the same name, but maybe, let's rename this to game pre-game complete research. And then we're probably what are we doing here? We're going through each research item, I'm assuming this is all working. We're going to assume this starting research is working. And I think the reason why we did this was for the other thing. So let's see here. So if this, we could just pass in the research item. If it's done, we pass in this. This is a research item data, and we're going to call it research item data because that's what I want to call it. And we'll copy this. We'll do this and that. We don't need this. See, this is the... So we're getting the faction ID. I guess we don't need this. My music stopped. What we need is we need this to be faction data. Faction data. This is going to be somewhat like this. All faction data lists. Research. Okay, so this is why we did this, but I don't like it. There's got to be a better way to do this, right? We rename it. All right, I will rename it current, except this should have an F, a capital F. Okay. So this is the only space. Oh no, we are using the faction ID in the game when we hit complete. Why don't I just pass in the faction though? Like, why is it not no? It should know what. Like, when we complete it, so we're completing this one. This particular one is unique. Why do we have to tell it? We don't need that thing there, but so we're assigning this back to the faction. Okay, so that's the... This is so strangely done. Munglo, how's it going? Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everyone. We're looking at some of my old code, and I'm confused by it. I just don't know why it's done this way. Maybe I should just rewrite it from scratch. That might be the solution. How did your stream go yesterday? I saw you were streaming earlier today, and I always try to like drop by, and then I get sidetracked, fucking setting up my own stream or whatever. I played some RimWorld this morning because they had an update. So we add the starting research. We assign this stupid thing. Which project? Your main one, the one with the bow and the dungeon? That'd be so much work. So we're like going through this list twice. So we have the faction data. We go through all of the research. We assign this thing, which it looks like we're using later. Oh, nice. Water, huh? You're messing with water. I always feel like water is the fear. It's like, you know, it causes so many possible things to happen. It's like the door thing. Moving and cleaning projects, is even worse. You think it's worse? The thing is, with me, I hit my old code in, and then I have to clean it up. I was talking about that yesterday, like technical debt. There's a lot in mine. So we make a copy of this thing. We check if it's done. And if it is, we set this, and then we add it to here. So what does this thing do? Okay, so then we need, this is, this is, this is so strange. This doesn't, try to use a struct definition C# file as a node script on a scene. We were, we as in me yesterday, so I was basically watching a code review, and they mentioned that instead of using a switch, this guy should have used a struct, and I don't really know what a struct is, and I think I'm using them sometimes, but I don't know like enough about them. And now that's like the next thing I gotta learn, because I have a couple. They're only like 3 or 4 things. I don't know. No, he was replacing how the guy was doing data. You'd have to. I don't know what I'm talking about. You'd have to look at the video. I think it was the case thing. I don't remember. Maybe it was his never-ending array. He also had like this never-ending array. So this isn't really completing it. It's being completed ahead of time. It's being completed up here. What it's really doing, I called it complete research because there was a bunch of like steps in it. But what it's really doing is it's adding in so this part's weird too. I must have been assigning this to that county improvement data or the improvement data that was up at the top. That I think was, yeah, this is but it structs an array if it's a small data structure. So you would have to watch the video. So basically he had how he was getting the data from, it was C++. But it was how he was accessing the data instead of having it broken down into the different little things. It was just one big mess, and so he was accessing it with a key, with a switch. Yeah, it's funny that you knew immediately it was C++. And the performance I don't think was the issue. The issue was the magic numbers and stuff that he had in there, and so he was just showing like how to make it more readable and usable later. But yeah, I was saying I want to watch more of those, not with that particular guy, but maybe. But that's because it was interesting to see things that I need improving on too. All right, so this thing is checking this is just like this is okay, so this part is for when you're running the game. So this isn't actually necessary for here, but we have a status thing for this particular, we need to make an instance of this actually, for this whole game. Let's try to type the words right. Public override ready. And then we're going to go instance equals this. All right, well, thank you for the raid. And for lurking. I always appreciate lurkers. What's your problem thing? What's your problem thing? Encapsulate it? Do it. No. I want the other thing removed. All right, shut up. All right, so we'll have this thing, and what we'll do is we want to update the status message, but I actually want to have a method for this. So we're going to have a public update status label text, and we'll pass in a string message status text. And then we will go like this, and we will go, yep, just like that. When did I start forgetting void? That was yesterday I was doing that, and last week I was doing it too. Holy shit, an hour's already passed. Let's put this thing in here. So what we were doing, this is for when in game it was also using that complete research thing, but this is pre that, so we can go dot instance dot update, and then we're going to pass in this research item data is going to be here, and we want this to happen with all of the factions. We want that status label just like flash by. It'll be really fast, I hope. If it's slow, then we got a problem. I'm going to take a break here in a second. So first things first, we're going through. No. So this is, I thought we were already in a for each. No. Yeah, we have to rewrite this whole thing. This whole thing's all fucked up. So we have the first faction. We're passing in a faction in this for loop up above. And then we go through every single research thing. I'm going to get rid of this, I think. Actually, I don't think I can because it's used in the other part, but yeah. And then it's going to make a copy of it. And then if this checkbox, if there's a bool is set, it sets that, and then it adds it into here. And then this shouldn't be called this. And we could actually put, see, this is why I was like, what is going on here? We could just put this right here. Like, I don't know why we were going through this again after that's done. Because I think we can just put this right here. So like basically if it's researched at start, we need to, and this should be called like assign county improvements, assign researched county improvements. And then we'll pass in this thing. And then this, I think we need a faction though at this point. We do, so we need this faction data also passed in. And then over here, I think we're gonna, should be gone. Check if it's done. We don't need to do because we know it's done at this point. It's researched at start. It can't not be researched at start. And then we'll go faction, data. Man, this. This old code. I mean, it is, okay. Current we're already using, so we could do county improve research. It doesn't matter probably, but I'm gonna take a quick break here. Yeah, Yeah, this I'm glad I'm making this, not trying to make those. So that was a thing I used to do all the time too, is make every method work for in all these different places. And sometimes I was fine, but most of the time it was not fine. It was actually quite bad because it was just too convoluted. And this is kind of what was happening with the old thing, whatever that was. I will be right back. Yeah, less than 5 minutes. Lucky, how's it going? I saw the most recent. message. I was like, what the fuck? uh, yeah, we were talking yesterday. Having the whole stream is just sponsored ads. Like, there's got to be somebody who's done that, right? Because the world is coming to an end. When did it become so acceptable for commercials to be a thing? I don't know. So we're gonna have this current. Oh, we don't need this then. We can just get rid of this. Oh man, and on YouTube I can't do anything about it. I should look into that when I'm not streaming one day. Is to see there's got to be like a moderator thing. All messages are visible. Wait, what's this? No. You know, at work I just canceled our NordVPN thing. Because you know, you gotta have one of those for some reason. All right, so what the fuck are we doing here? I changed it. I changed it to see if I could make that better. It said like see all of them, and I was like, yeah, I want to see them all. That's what I did. I changed it to live. I did this. Here, I'll bring this over. These are top or live, and so I changed it to live in hopes that I could see the blocked ones, but no such luck. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you would figure YouTube would be like on the top of the streaming ability. You know, like their whole thing is kind of a mess. If you basically, a lot of the streaming things, you can just hit stream, but it will like have old stuff. Like, you can't set up things a certain way. I don't know. The whole thing is kind of strange. They have limits. I have to turn down the quality on YouTube. So since I'm streaming to both at the same time, it's on both. When I do that, the whole thing is it's surprising to me that they. I guess all they give a shit about is shorts now. So anyways, research faction. We could just rename this to current faction. Because that is what we were doing. So this, I don't know how this ever worked. We must have been assigning, yeah, this was dumb. What we need is research item data. We're getting it from this. And then for each, this is probably going to just be a wealth of bugs. And we have the faction data here. And then this is going to be current. Now, this is where I had a bug a long time ago. I remember this. You know, we were talking about stop killing games yesterday for a long time. And I was partway through, I was like, I wish Lucky was here. He probably knows more about this than I do. So this can be private as well. And so what is this this shouldn't say this. Should say adding county improvements for. This is wrong. Do they? Quesadilla is kind of a good name, right? But it could have other. Are you cheesy? I don't want this to say this, but we'll we'll leave that there for now. We'll fix this in a second. We got to fix the other shit. I'm going to get rid of all these GD prints because they're old. This has to be set. Yeah, there should probably be a better way to do that too. Now let's see what happens when we run our game generation here. And then we're going to have to put in a thing in the main game that generates those nodes, which we already put notes in so I don't forget. But all right, we got a bug. We got through the first one. There is no instance of this. Let's double check. So I think what this is doing, because this has happened in the past, is it goes from the bottom up. And so this is like the root one. I think that's what's happening here. Game generation canvas layer. Your public. Your status label is private, which is fine. And I think that's why I'm just going to do this. I think that's why I was doing this weird shit. Is because then it goes up and then down. Whoops, wrong play. You know, I haven't been getting the crashing lately. No. Oh, you know what I was doing? I remember now. I was making a root node that I was just calling a root node for this reason. I was going like I would call this root node, and then I would make it the root node, but I can't remember if like this. It has something to do with the root thing, and I can't. Oh, god damn it! I hit play again. We should just switch that. Yeah, we'll switch it. All right, there was a crash, but I think that crashed because I X'd out. And I also got some weird like power surge in my house. So, like, I probably it wasn't Godot's fault. I think my heater or my air conditioner kicked in. Let's set this thing. Actually, I think I just right click on this. Is that a Unity thing? I think that might be a Unity thing. Project settings. It is this. We're gonna do game generation. That way, if I accidentally hit this, it will play what we're trying to do here. All right, that didn't work either. So why aren't you liking yourself? No translation. What is your actual? Whoops. Are we not passing in a research item? Let's delete this. This is just extra. In all research items should already be created at this point because auto loads first. We have this research item data copy. We have this, we're passing this in. There was some weird thing. I remember that I had to do that root node thing. Um, I can't remember what the deal is. Why are you like? Yeah, that's the okay. So that got farther. Yeah. So that's the thing. Is it couldn't if it's a baby, it does the babies first. Um, we got some other issue, but okay. There's no dictionary. Oh, it already exists. What are we doing here? We talked about that yesterday too. That when I first started exporting my videos, my video game streams to YouTube, I did not like myself, and I would get 0 views. But the minute I started liking myself, just one like, you would start getting like some views. You know, not a lot. What is your problem? There's a dictionary that already exists. Wow, this is. Oh, it's putting in this. Wait, what? I think we only got through one of those. Yeah, hi. I was saying hi to the heirs. The shipbirds have been loaded from disk. It already has 0 remnants. What? Why are you checking remnants? Let's clear this. Let's clear this. Why would it be checking remnants? That little thing worked though. It already has 0 remnants and counting. Why are we doing stock? Why are we stockpiling stuff? Not faction generation. Yes, faction generation. Remnants. It already has the Hallmaster. Why the fuck would the Hallmaster be running? Where this is a different part. This is. It has to generate the stockpile goods from the developer created input goods list. The input goods list is later copied to the unique list because it has to be. If the player selects use remnants, then this will break. I don't think that's true anymore. That's old. We fixed the use remnants thing. We not fixed it, we implemented it. Why? So this. Hallmaster faction data. Add county improvements to all county improvements. Then we generate that there. Okay, so that's what's going on. So this is kind of the common thing. This says exactly what this is doing, so it seems like that comment is pointing it. Like I named this well enough. So this all county improvements to all county add county improvements to all county improvements. This is that little thing we were doing. This is inside faction data. So this happens back to here. Once the research happens, we're doing it right here. Current faction data. And this is how I want it, because it's adding it to this one. So I guess we need to double check how this thing works here. So this thing generates this. What did it say? It already had a thing? So this probably aired out on the second run through. Meaning... no. AI Faction 1 has been loaded from disk. AI Faction 3 is... What? Is it doing you twice? It's doing it twice. Now look at all this stuff. Look at all these resources. I know I sound shocked, but this is what it's supposed to do. So it's doing this twice. The problem is it's loading this shit twice. Read resources from disk. Did I... What does this thing have? Okay. Yeah. Why would you do this twice? I don't want you to do it twice. On ready, faction generation, it reads them all from disk, and then it goes through. Then we have this, so we have this thing. Maybe it's in the read resource that has something special in here. We load the resource, and we return the resources. This is pretty straightforward. So we have the list, faction generation. Then we for each through, or not for each, we for through this. And we do each one of these. Is there like another for each buried in here? Nope. That adds that. Oh, are we adding these things to the list as we're doing them? What a stupid asshole. Okay. That's what we're doing. Is these are already in the list. Jesus Christ. All right, so we're adding to the list that we're listing through. All right, that was dumb. There, it would just never ended if we didn't bug out there. All right. So we already have the list. It's already one. That we need to get that shit out of there. And that was for some other test. All right, this can go away. This, wherever it is, can go away. You say one usage? I don't believe you. There we go. All right, so it's going to create all of these. Let's double check with the, I wish you could, you know what would be nice is if you could filter this, but by like a negative thing. What I mean is like if you could say, just take out all of these, get this shit out of here. Like maybe you can, like you could just negative out. Nope. So let's find that it already has value. You can go fuck yourself. There we go. Look at all this stuff. We're gonna run this one more time. Man, at the beginning, that was a common error for me to be trying to manipulate a list while I'm going through the list. That was pretty common. All right, so this looks much. What the fuck is this? Why are we so curious about remnants? What is going on with this? This just love of talking about remnants. Let's do this one more time. I think that this was not as bad as I thought it would be, but then we need to make a save game here. This is the first step. And this happens so fast that we can't even, which is kind of what I wanted. All right, so we have all this garbage that's loaded ahead of time, which is what we want. This is all like the resources, all that shit. which we don't. We're not going to save that stuff. That's not unique. That loads every time you load the game. So, or start the game. So it's going to run that thing. It's going to load all of the resources from disk every time you start the game. I was just thinking, like, if we do an update, it's going to break everyone's update, which of course is normal. But I would prefer not to break people's save games every time we update. But this is right. Adding county improvements for research, blah blah blah. And there's 4 in each one. Yeah. So this is right. This is everything's good here. So now we can actually move to the save part. That was what all that was for, was so that we could prep for the save. The beginning of the save thing is we needed to create these factions, and then we're gonna save them to disk again. I know we just read these from disk, but at some point we're gonna throw in randomization here every time you generate the game. Right now we don't have any randomization, but there's going to be. So that's why we're reading all these things from disk and then saving them to disk again. Because we're going to randomize when we go into the whatchamacallit. So what do we have here? Check for folder and create save file to disk. So we're saving the save game data. We need to close something here. We probably can close that for now. This can go, this can go. That we might need. Okay, so in the save game data, we need a Godot list so that we can save it to we can save it to disk, because we're trying to do this with the resource saver. All faction data, and then excuse me here, faction data. You don't know what that is, huh? Oh, we don't have any. This should be in the player space. And then we need to initialize this, but I'm worried we're going to get that error. And in a resource, you can't do whatchamacallit. So this is the first thing we need to save, and then in our save manager, when we save, so this is the saving it to disk. We also need, so we say save game, check for that, save file to disk. But before we do that, we need to update the save game data. Update. And like I said, this time we're just going to save everything every single time. We're not going to do it. We're not going to save the changes. We're going to save everything. And if that's a problem, then we'll deal with that later. Actually, we do need this. Look, we have new in there. We have new in there. Do we need this? No, we don't need to pass it in. We can just manipulate it right here. Get the fuck out of here. Save game data dot all. Did I not make you public? You know, with Writer, you can just alt enter that thing. It's kind of nice. All faction data. So this might need to be like a giant constructor type of thing. So what we need to pass in here is like a new, this is going to be a Godot, except that isn't a Godot list. It's a normal list. Yeah, we'll deal with that. Godot collections, we'll dictionary, no, array, faction, data, and we're going to say that we're going to call this one new. We're going to call all of these new. What's going on here? And then this is going to say new. Yeah, this is going to be like a giant array. So when we do this, though, we're going to have to pass in this thing as well. Is there a better way to do this? Where is this thing? This is under faction generation. I don't know. So once again, we have the parallel list. We did all that work yesterday, so we wouldn't have this parallel list, but now we have this parallel list. Well, we did a little bit, not all that work. We did a tiny bit of work yesterday. Why are you... You probably don't want to be called the... Oh, I see. No, we need a capital F. Come on. And... I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But we'll do it. We'll start applying our tactical debt here. We'll start taking the tactical loan right now, and we'll deal with it later. So I want to do this very basically, and then try to because I'm not sure exactly what we need to save. We need to save everything, but I want to make sure that we're whatever. We are going to have this parallel list though, and I don't like that. But let's get this thing to work. So after we've generated the thing, we're going to need another node that is save game to disk. Save generated world to disk. What was that? Then we're going to create a new script here. Sure. And we're going to go... I thought I built a new folder for this stuff. I did. Then this is just going to be public override. Ready. I was in deep thought there for a second about this thing. Did I stick this over here in auto? No. Faction generation. See, I was trying to have this just be a temporary. I was trying to make this just a temporary list because I don't want this I don't want this parallel list. But We can't get away from this. We have to have this. So, and once again, we're back to the, like, do we really need those nodes, the faction nodes for debugging? I don't know if we do. Maybe we should just blow it away and use this thing. But if we're gonna do, so this is one of, like, the figuring out the data structure. Once again, I should have done this way earlier, because now we're gonna have to figure out all this shit. Like, where is this stuff saved while you're playing the game? A lot of it, like, currently all this data is just, like, kind of scattered across the it's just scattered across the different scripts, and then there's globals, but that's just like global, like, options to adjust gameplay. We could stick this in auto load, but at some point we're just going to have, like, everything in auto load. But is that bad? So, like, let's think how this works. Auto load runs every single time, or at the beginning of everything. So you load up the main menu. It's going to load. So the main menu is going to load all of these things. So basically, when you go to start the game and you haven't even decided if you're going to play that, you might, I don't know if I want to play this game, and you might exit out of it. It's going to load all this shit. Which right now it's a quick read off the disk, but after a while I think we might want to move this to a different spot, which we could do, because we could say, like, if the scene is whatever, do this. We couldn't do that. We'd have to call it, but whatever, we could move it. I think I'm going to comment this out. We don't need that right now. So back to this, we could put the all factions data in here. We have every other. These get loaded every time you run the game. Because they shouldn't. Man, should I just rename these things while I'm here? Let's do it. Every time I look at this, it annoys me, so. I like the S on the end, though. It makes me sad. This one is just interests. Look at this weird shit, too. Some of these are initialized and some aren't. Fuck. That's weird. Let's keep that consistent. Well, now it's all gonna fucking break. We need this. It actually doesn't matter if we run this one, because like I said, it runs every time it loads that. And when we run main, it's gonna load it from disk. We're not here yet. We've changed this, how that works. This is when you're actually in game and you hit options. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this, we're gonna move this thing, and we're gonna make it a Godot. We're gonna make it a Godot list to start with. I don't think that's gonna be catastrophically bad. So then what I guess we would do is we would manipulate this Godot all data list thing, or all faction data, throughout gameplay, and then we would save it. I wish I knew how real programmers did things. This is going to be public. This is going to be a Godot collections array of faction data, and then yeah, that's actually what we want. You're gonna initialize right here. We're actually gonna put. Why do you keep putting this thing at the end? Oh, I know why. We're actually going to export this so that we can look at it later. I think we'll get rid of the nodes. Yeah, I think we'll get rid of the nodes. The faction nodes. I think that they're more of a pain to get to work if we do it this way. Why did I wait so long on this shit, man? Let's get rid of this. We will get rid of this and just rid of the faction nodes and just manipulate the all factions data in auto load. I'm going to leave that there so I read it because I'm going to forget. Okay, so... Oh, but then that means that faction script is no longer will be used. I'm going to put a note for that, too. This also means we won't need the faction script at all anymore. Is this going to clean up some code? Is that what we're going to experience here? I don't believe it. What are we doing here? Okay, so when game generation is done, we are going to save everything, but that means also, where's my save manager? That means we don't have to pass in shit to this. So what we can do instead, we need to break something though. We can go auto load dot instance dot that. We're going to rename this to list as well. Whoops. Nope, that's right. Yeah, whatever. So that's going to be that, and then we update the save game data. We update that. We're going to call this save game. From this, we're going to go auto, or what is this? Save manager dot instance. Do we need an instance of this? Wait, why would we need an instance of this save manager? Can't we just do public static? No. Why? Oh, because you need this shit up here. Do we need this shit up here? We already have an instance of this though, huh? All right, we'll just do, well, whatever. Save game. Yeah, what is your problem? You need like a, what did we call this thing? Game generation? Where are you, save game? Not you. Save manager, what are you in? You're in player space? Okay. We can actually just get this whole, whoops. We can get this whole line here. Where's my script? Oh, I copied just the P. Fine. Namespace, player space. You can go away. You can go down there. You can save. So there was one more thing. I was like, oh, we got to do that. Blah, blah, blah. It was under here. No, it was under faction generation. We got to blow this away. And then we got to go auto load dot instance dot that. And it's actually, oh, this is going to return. We have it to list. What were you doing it from before? What was this thing? We had a Godot array? Oh, because we're loading it from whatever, from a resource loader. My music stopped again. I know you guys can't hear it, even though you could hear it when I started streaming. A terrible mistake there. What are we returning here? We return resources, which is a list, which is a C# list. The thing is, if I change this, I'm going to break everything else. So can I do this to Godot collection or something? Because this said to list. I'll just tell it that this needs to be converted to a Godot collection. And tell it, meaning, what the fuck? ChatGPT. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to manipulate that actual list, huh? I mean, I guess that's fine. ChatGPT. Shut up. How do I make this C# list turn into a Godot collections array? It needs to okay, so we cast to list. Oh, that's it? All right. We need to make it a list, then we need to make it a thing, huh? You can't like just add this shit to the end. You can't just go like this. I was hoping. What does it say though? You don't think? Yeah, I gotta try the weird shit. What is this thing? New array. Oh, but that's not what I want. I'm back to fucking with Godot arrays, Godot collections again. All right, we'll just make it a list. Then we'll make it a list. I wish I knew. So this is my problem here. List, faction data. Oh, that's what I want. But this is going to be this. I wish I knew when a reference was a reference versus versus I hope I don't have to do that. I thought there was a way I could do it without doing that, going through the whole thing. All I wonder if this is going to throw that error too. That seems like a prime candidate for that error. I wonder if they fixed that. I don't think they did. This thing, I like to be lazy is the key. Like this doesn't work. This doesn't work. You're right. I don't want to do that though. I don't want to create a new list of lists. Look, I've told this thing 400 times never to use var in my presence, but it does every single time, and I have to remind it. No, I don't want you to write me a utility. I'm thinking. So let's think about this read thing, because we could start out with a Godot list. I don't really want to, but we could. We don't need to export those. So what I was doing is anything that wasn't needed to be exported, I was using a C# list. And that's a good point, Casper. We just have a thing that because we're gonna have to do this a bunch of times then. And so this is basically how I started. I started with always using C# lists, and then I would run into the same fucking thing where I would have to like make them exported or something. So then I switched everything to Godot lists, which suck, and then I switched everything back to C# lists, and now we're back to this dog shit again. I don't know why they have to make their lists suck. The Godot lists. I don't know why they suck. All right. They don't suck. They just have a few minor problems. All right. So let's look at this. Create faction from disk. Or read resource from disk. So we would have to update all of those things, but like this thing, we can just return as a Godot collection, Godot whatever array. So these ones would have to be updated. Is there anything that we're doing? I don't think we're doing like anything complicated except for for eaching through or 3 minutes before I take a break. I have so many of the new copy things because resources don't copy correctly. If you have custom things inside of them, they copy fine if you have like the basic shit inside of them. I don't want to do that. I swear we had another way to do it. But I can't remember. So we don't need to export them, which is fine. I guess we can just make these all collections, Godot collections. Let's see what it says if I will break all those other ones, but let's see if we start this out as a Godot collection. Array. So then this thing will also be this. All right, there's no red in there. Yeah, you can go this way. I don't think we want this. I think we want it like this then. Okay, I'd be wrong. What? Get rid of this shit. What did it want me to do? Oh, just an array? Why just an array? Because we just have Godot collections up there. Get out of here. cannot convert expression. Oh, I see what you did here. I see what you did. Okay, all right. We do need the casting thing in there. So this should be cast. No, we need you to be cast faction data. But I don't think we need this part. I guess we do, huh? System collections to type Godot collections. What are you using? Godot collection array faction data, all faction data. Back over to this thing. We put in the path. This is an array, Godot array. We're not returning that though. All factions data list. It's not a list anymore. Cast to array. So I gotta cast it as well. I thought I was casting it back here. I don't like having this here because that the array thing, I don't like it's too, I like this up here. There's other types of arrays. There's the C# array. So I have to cast it here. So then do I need to cast that? Okay. So then what if we put this here? So this is what I was talking about, the referencing thing. So if I was to do a list here, or whatever, Godot collection array here that's called all faction data list, and then also have it equal, these both equal the same thing. Are they actually references or are they something else? Are they a copy? They're references. All right, good to know, because that would make it less ugly. You know what I mean? So then what is this doing? Okay, so this is just a for each loop. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break. How do you know when it isn't a reference? Because I feel like I've ran into that where I assumed it was a reference and then all of a sudden it's not a reference. Like what is the thing that makes it not a reference? Is it always a reference? Maybe it's something to do Godot related where that's happened to me and I didn't know. Where I'm manipulating two separate things, but I want them to always be, not always, but the vast majority. Almost always object is just a pointer. Yeah, I wonder what because I can't remember when this happened, but now it's always been like this fear in the back. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break though, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes. Oh, I gotta stop my music too, that you guys can hear. All right, I guess I'm back. I gotta turn on my break timer. Also, thank you, Casper. And Casper, did you decide if you're going to use C# or GD script? Have you made the decision? All right, all these are going to break. Why didn't you break? I guess it's fine doing it that way. All right, whatever. We'll figure out that thing. What is this thing? Oh, that's the same. Wait, what? Yeah, you can't be private. I know the feeling. We were, someone mentioned that they were doing something in Unreal yesterday or last weekend, and I was talking about like when I was trying to decide on Godot at all. It is definitely, a big, because you're kind of stuck. I don't know what this thing wants. I don't know what that means now. It's just gibberish, and it's not used. No. That's weird. Well, we'll just ignore that and worry about. Oh, look at this! There's a var in here. Whatever. So let's run this, I suppose. Yeah, the thing that turned me off from Unreal was just the massive size of it. Number 19. It does not like our thing. What is it not like? What is its problem? I think we're just gonna have to go through it. Invalid cast. I got rid of that to list at the end, I think. I don't think it matters. Yeah, well, it does matter. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to go through it. I just didn't want to. And then we'll have to do that in the save game, I suppose. I mean, we don't have to do it in the save game, but that's where we should do it. So this thing's returning just like a flat resource. And that's why we were casting it as these things. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do is in here, we will just making sure that this is not like a list or something stupid. We'll do it in Save Manager. Convert lists to Godot array. And actually, I think we can put it right here. We can just return. We'll put this thing inside here. And we'll actually cut this line and we'll put it here. We don't need that. And then we'll generate this thing. We got an extra thing there. Then we'll go back. We'll go back to our auto load. And we'll make this a list, except I do want to, so, however, this does need to be, so I guess this won't, we'll put this in auto load for fuck's sake. Yeah, we'll put this in here. We'll cut this thing. We'll cut this. We'll put this in our auto load right here. And we're going to return a Godot collections array, and then we're going to convert a Godot. No, we're going to convert a list. We're passing in a list of, if we want to use this for multiple things, we're going to pass in a list of resources. And we're going to go resource list. And then we're going to go, yeah, I guess for each resource, but we don't, we either have to put a switch in here or we have to have these individual, because this one's like returning, we need to know what it's returning. I'm back to umming again. What did this thing say? I guess I'll just write this just for this thing. I really don't want to convert. Extension generic. I know jack shit. You're talking about like with the T and all that stuff. Convert faction data list to Godot array. We also can read it. Why is this such a pain in my ass? So at this point, when we do read this from disk, hey, my critters, how's it going? You're banning the water from the workplace? Too much gossip going on? Yeah, it's the key. Gossip is the way of life, though. It's hot where you're at. It's hot where I'm at too, but I'm in my basement and I have an air conditioner, so it's cool in the basement. But it's if I go outside, so I have a hoodie on down here. Not that it's like that cold down here, but that it's it's my preferred like hoodie level. So let's do this differently. I was clicking back and forth because I was thinking here of how we want to do this. Since this doesn't work, so what we'll do is we will have a C# list here of faction data. I did it again with the N there. Called all, and we'll go like this, and then we'll have this thing, then we'll have this thing, and then we'll get rid of this thing, and we'll go to list, whoops, yeah, that. And then this will go through here and assign all of this shit. Nope. This will all go away. And then this will go back to faction generation. Whoops. And we'll go in here. And then we'll go convert. This is not going to return anything, though. We're going to do this. Rename this. Whoops. In auto load. And then we're going to do this. Yeah, we had quite the gossip session yesterday. We're going to do void. I think we might have more of those, but not on my normal stream. This is going to be a faction data list. It's going to be all faction data list. And hopefully we'll have more topics. I was thinking, like, if we do that again, we should do it for like 3 hours, but then have like an hour for each topic. And then for each faction data, yep, in here, we will, we need a Godot list, but we actually have one in our auto load .instance all faction data list. Add, there we go. How to write extension methods to convert C list of any type to, yeah, there we go. With like resources that they know what they need to be. Yeah, I used the T thing that you were talking about a while ago for a couple of things, but it was always too confusing. When I got back to it later, because chat helped me, so I need to like know like how it works. All faction data list C# is what we will call this. And that will be, this is converted to this thing, and we'll just go through each. And what is your problem now? Make it static? Sure. All right, so this is going to go through and it's going to assign, add these all in here. Except, I think we need to clear this first. Thank you for the lurk. I like it when people lurk. I lurk also myself a lot. A lot of times when I, raid somebody and then I say I'm leaving, I actually am lurking and come back like, an hour later. I think we need to clear this list, though. I have a feeling we want to clear that thing first before we do this, just in case. So now let's see what happens. And now we have that Godot thing going. I got to change this music. That you guys can't hear. The mountain goats. Whenever these mountain goats guys start, I'm just annoyed. Make it public at least. Was it not public? Oh, so now this one, no. This thing, if I do use this, I'm gonna change it. See, this is why I want it in the save game, because right now this is like kind of just a test thing. But yes, it will be public, and I'm gonna move it to somewhere. I just don't know where. So I gotta do like the baby step thing to figure out like if this is gonna be in the save game manager or what. Because when we do save it, we're gonna have a similar problem. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. So let's see here. Let's go to our app data and look at what it looks like. Man, I hit... What? What's going on here? What is this? Why are you going to... Oh, I'm clicking in search. Why is my thing so small? App. I remember that happened a long time ago. Now I'm on even worse music. You guys are lucky not to hear this. What the fuck is this? The name of this song is The Sex Was Good Until It Wasn't. I know you guys can't hear it. We'll remove you from the queue. I only want songs about good sex. Godot. And 2D4X saves. That is today. So what do we got here? Faction data. 1, 2, 3 player. Nar Druid. I think I'm going to just call you Druid. I want to start making game. It looks to start with Game Maker. Do I waste my time with Game Maker? I've never used Game Maker. They did some shady shit recently. They released like Action Maker. Yeah, so they released like a new... So the thing with Game Maker, at least with Action Maker, is it's on top of Godot. And so they released this other thing. And so it's just like a plugin for Godot. I think it's this one is, let's see, Godot Action and Game Maker. Yeah, it's built using the Godot engine, so you might as well skip the middleman. How much does it cost? $100? Get the fuck out of here. I would not use Game Maker. I mean, I know this is the action one, but what is that? Is the other one just called Game Maker? So that one's free. I would probably just skip that. I don't know if this one, though, is based on Godot. I know the action one is Godot. There was like a controversy kind of when it first came out. I saw it on Reddit. I actually think Joker mentioned it, too. Not action. Is Game Maker Godot? Yeah, so Game Maker itself is a proprietary thing, but their new one is built using Godot. It's like a Godot plugin. These are the same people, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, they're different people. This is Yo-Yo Games, and the other one was something else. It was, gotcha. I thought they were RPG Maker. So RPG Maker is the other one. So there's a different company that is RPG Maker and Action Game Maker that are just Godot, and so then Game Maker is its own thing that has its own language. But I would probably just use Godot. It's free. I mean, I guess Game Maker is free too. What type of game are you making? Oh, but there is a price for these ones. The save file looks good, by the way. This is what we want. Yeah. You want to start something simple as a hobbit? You mean like your player's a hobbit? Like a halfling? You got to use the non-proprietary names. Making games as where you are the Hobbit. If you don't know any game engine, the biggest factor is learning curve. Well, there's definitely gonna be a huge learning curve. I would start with the simplest game you could possibly think of, and I know that like people are like I don't want to make tic-tac-toe. That's dumb. I highly recommend making tic-tac-toe or whatever you're interested in first, so that you can hit all the standard basic stuff, and then jump to your insane game. Because then you have all this technical debt like I have, where I'm just going back and fixing stuff because I just jumped into the insanity right off the bat. Are you going for 2D or 3D? 2D? Yeah. So the reason I was asking that is because like 3D adds a whole different one whole layer of complication. It's much more complicated. I know it's only one dimension, but one more extra dimension, but it's so much like animations and stuff. Holy shit. I always go back to like the animations being incredibly difficult. Well, now that this works, what do we do? We give up? We're done for the day? No, we got to go to the next thing. So what we got to do after this is we're going to add I'm going to add it in a separate node. We're going to just have it because I think we're going to be doing a lot of I just want to break things down as small as possible, basically. So we'll do a final node here. Go to main game. Spawn main game. Spawn. And then we will create a new script. I have a feeling it is not going to be called spawn main game for long, though. Like Zelda. Isn't Game Maker also releasing a new one? Game Maker 2? Oh, I guess not. Game Maker Studio 2. Is that on Steam? Game Maker Studio. I don't know. You're probably not wasting your time regardless. You know, even if it's not ideal. Yeah, even so, from what I understand is that even like people who are forced to dramatically switch engines and stuff, you can always bring over like a lot of the knowledge, and it's the same with like like just the basic programming knowledge, you know, you're bringing that over, and they have all similar stuff. So like people who have to switch engines and switch languages, yeah, it's a huge bummer. Like when I switched from Unity to Godot, it was a huge bummer, and it set me back, but it also helped me learn more about C# actually, like what was C# and what was built into the engine and what was whatever. So I hated it and I didn't want to do it, but it actually was a beneficial thing in the long run. But yeah, if you're already used to it, well, if you're a JS guy, that JavaScript's like the Godot uses C# or GD script. I'm gonna go to my Discord real quick because there's a link on here that I want to show you guys. Look at that JavaScript. Most used programming languages among developers worldwide as of 2024. Look at that. Look at that. It's crazy. Like the whole world is run on JavaScript. Yeah, so I'm using C#. I'm using C# with Godot. Casper has not is gonna make a game, I think, and but he hasn't decided. What are the pros and cons, Casper? Just putting you on the spot. um, Phaser.io. Is this gonna bring me something weird? Should I open this on my other monitor? I'm gonna move this over to my other monitor. All right, it's fine. I'm bringing it over. Just type in some random. Are you making a web game though? I have not heard of this. When I first switched over to Godot 2, that was like a regular conversation we had. Like, what was the best? Oh, this is like built, huh? Are you making a? No, you just did research. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. If you're making a web game and you already know some JavaScript and stuff, is this free? Pricing, of course, it costs free 30-day trial. I think the other thing with game development that I know this is like said all the time, but I think it still, because this is like kind of a common thing with people who appear in chat occasionally, I guess, is that they think they're gonna make a bunch of money on it, and I think that that's extremely rare. You're basically just mentally prepare yourself to be wasting your time, but you're not really wasting your time, but you know. You are. What the fuck were we doing? We were doing this. No, this doesn't go here. This is gonna go into definitely the scripts folder and game and create this. And then we're gonna do something crazy here. We need an export on here. Public packed scene. Main game scene. What is this? And then on ready, we're going to, I already forget how to do it. You get tree, load. It's like you load it from disk. Load. Or from scene. Godot switch scene. Exactly. So that's the way you gotta take it. Is that you're learning something new. So you're not wasting your time, but you're probably not gonna make money. Especially, I read a lot of the Reddit, the subreddit that's like indie game developers, and man, people are very shocked. Change scene 2. There we go. People are very shocked that their first game is not profitable, and then they're on like their fourth game and it's barely profitable. They've spent 10 years, and I think that like you gotta get in the mindset, and also like a lot of times their games aren't very good. What I mean is that they expect like to make something easy. And so I think the mindset is you gotta go in thinking, I'm not gonna make any money. I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna learn, and then you'll probably be more successful. And I think also like back to like the tic-tac-toe thing, even if you release like a simple game, which I have not done, like totally. If you're doing a hobby, then it's awesome. But like I haven't released a game, but I kind of wish I had made a very simple game and went through the whole process of releasing it, because I don't even know what challenges I'm going to run into later on when I try to release it. They might it'd be like, oh well, it has to be like this, and if I would have to, and that might make me have to go back and change things. Let's say achievements. You know, you need to have achievements in your game, and I don't have any achievements, then it's you know, that's like a major rewrite. But if I'd already went through and done the basics, where's my main scene here? We need to put you in here, and then we're gonna break some shit again. We don't need the start menu. So this should implode right around. Now, no. Oh, there we go. There's our implosion. So this was all planned. This is all on purpose. Where are we at here? Parent node is busy adding, removing children. All right, this is new. Can't be called at this time. Consider using remove child. I don't think I need to do that. I don't think I need to tell it. I think what's happening is it just is hitting it too fast. So what we could do, I actually have in globals, I haven't used it in an eternity, so we can tell it to wait. Before we do that, like 10 frames or something. Actually, we just need this. We need to close some stuff here too. Yeah, so I like a lot. The biggest thing that I wish I had more of, and it's slowly getting improved, is more tutorials. More tutorials, and if you already, or you know, JS. Yeah, this isn't gonna. Oh, I don't have a namespace in here. Every time now. Yeah, I just wish there was more tutorials. Joker, he comes into my chat sometimes. He does tutorials. He does a lot of them. What is your problem? So I think I can't, I bet you I can't do a wait on ready. Maybe I can? I don't think I can. What is this? Discard return value. What? What is that? What is that gonna do? Yeah, but there is a lot of people, and I feel like there's more people moving away because Unity always is doing something shady. That RPG maker thing, like kind of pissed some people off. I haven't done this in a long time. I wonder. Where I was using this before. Delete counties button. How does this work? Oh, and then I stuck this in here. Look at this. This is for the map editor. And I just have it like wait so that you can see the things like flash by. So what we got to do here then is change to main game. And then this, we got to do the wait thing. No, we got to do that other thing. Oh, yeah. There's a whole collisions thing. I try not to use collisions that much because I hate them. But I actually am, I can't show it to you because I'm in the broken state. But yeah, there's a whole collision thing there. Everything's built in like nodes. And so you can add in, let me go to one that's shorter. You can add in a node and like you could do like a collider. It's actually area 2D. And then, no, it's collision, not collider. And then you would add a collider to this. A collision shape, you know, and you can pick the different shape. Let's say we wanted this. You can pick the different shape. Whatever. Circle. We probably want a circle. Subvertman? I was sitting here for 5 minutes trying to figure out how to pronounce your name. How's it going? Yeah, collision shape. So, like, you can do that. You know, that's like the shape that this area is, and you can assign it to things. It has, like, tons of built-in stuff, and it's, you know, chat, often I'll be doing something and they're like, why don't you just use the node that does that? And I'll be like, oh, I didn't know there was a node. But you can, you know, go through these. If you know, like it's whatever, if you have an idea of like, well, I know it's a 3D thing and it's probably a camera thing and, you know, whatever, and look through it that way. No, no, need to be sorry. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce anything. Sorry, I can't read. All right, how the fuck are we do this? We're gonna do async here. Not with a capital though. No, let's find that thing. Where was that? And we'll make sure with delete county button. See, this script's one little button. It's an async task. Oh, I wonder if I could just call deferred. Call deferred out of laziness. Name of. But we don't want this actually. And what is this thing? So we need one more of those. And then put this stuff down here. And then void you out. No need to be sorry. I love interruptions. Any excuse not, whoops. Any excuse to not get any work done. It's the key. I'm a big talker. Yeah, there is, and I hate colliders. I don't know why, but I have used them a little bit, and you can get information. There's all sorts of built-in stuff. So I think the reason why is I was like, I'm scarred from my bad programming. Is the reason why I try not to use colliders. And so I avoid them. Recently, what was I using it for? I can't remember, but I did have to use a collider. Yeah, Brachy's does good tutorials. All right, so what is this thing here? I watched it. I used to watch him when. Oh, this is a different issue. Oh, great! No, this is great. This is we're past the call deferred worked. We're now we had 6 before. We only have 5. We're to the real thing. Yeah, I used to watch Brachy's when I was doing Unity stuff, and his tutorials were pretty good. So this is going to be all busted, and I guess we're not gonna do the faction nodes. It's just a waste of our time, I think. And Berkman, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Thank you for the follow. I wonder with this broken thing up though, if we can see. Yeah, so the faction nodes weren't created. I guess we'll just ditch this shit. If we go into auto load, can we see our stuff? I mean, we can. We don't need that. We don't need that. They don't own any counties, though. They did get. It's because we haven't done the county creation, which is where this was probably. Yeah, definitely keep us posted. And I love seeing new games that people have come in the chat and sent me a link to. Like, I'm always. So far, I don't think I've ever been unimpressed by the stuff that people send me. Especially because I feel like I get nowhere on mine, and people come in and they're like, I made this in 3 weeks, and they have a fully complete. They're like, it's out on itch.io. All right, let's fix whatever this thing is. Let's go. Let's start on it. Where are you at? County generation. Okay, so this thing we no longer do. This is these magic number bullshit. This is temporary. We're not going to make. This is going to be generated randomly, but for the testing, we need it this way, which is why we're using the magic numbers. And why this looks like this. Now I have to explain every time I use or fix it. Now that I know that they're bad. I mean, I knew they were bad, but now that I knew that that's what they're. Now that I know what they're called or whatnot. So. This goes through and assigns each one of these, but this is no longer. So this doesn't exist anymore because we don't have the faction nodes. So what we're going to do instead is auto load instance all faction list. Like that. And then this one is 1. And this one is 1. See, if I fuck this up, though, it does. I mean, it wouldn't break the game. It would just break how the map looks. The different factions would get assigned to the wrong county, so they would. What was that one? 1. Yeah. So it's not the end of the world, but this is for the testing that we currently have. That's what this clusterfuck is here. All right, let's run this. We took all that time yesterday changing it to the node thing. We'll delete that node thing too. I mean, I guess we could do it now. Hey, we're down to 3. Let's delete this. I wonder if we'll keep the counties then. Let's rerun that. Yeah, I don't know. It was, the county thing never worked, though. It always showed. The county thing never worked. It never showed the correct information. Why repeat 1? Because we're assigning this faction to this county so that this faction owns that county. So this isn't like these ones are. So this faction 1 owns these 3 counties, but it's not going to be like that when we actually have the game for real. But I needed to test like certain things, and so that's the shitty. Yeah, this is the shitty way to do it. And what I could do is put like an enum, so at least I knew the names. So yeah, like there's this, and the Portland. This is the player faction, I guess. 3 is the player faction. Yeah, it is. So Portland owns 3, or the player faction owns 3. Or sorry, Portland and Wasco is owned by the player, but it's just, yeah, it won't be. So we're actually going to move this whole thing over to faction generation, and we'll randomly generate the factions and assign them, except for probably like 20 different starting places that you would have already picked though ahead of time. So you'd pick your starting location like in a standard 4X game, which is part of that, like this blank game generation thing that flashes that is part of, we're going to put things there, but that's way later. I'm just trying to, like, for now, I really don't want to do the UI for picking the game, like picking your location and stuff, because it's going to be a pain in my ass. All right, so what are we doing here? All right, this is the same problem. So basically everything we fixed yesterday to use that thing is no longer, to use the faction nodes is no longer useful at all. So that one's done. Same thing with this one. I wish I had, where did that copy this? Where was that? Random color. You don't know what auto load is? How do you not know what auto load is? Missing reference file. What's going on here? Auto load space. Oh. Is it an array of 250 integers? No, my game data is a mess, dude. I think I've told this story before, but I had a friend who worked for Amazon, and she higher up developer thing, and the first question when I told her I was trying to make a game, first question she asked was like, well, how are you going to structure your data? And I was like, I'm just going to throw it in there. It's not an array of 250 integers. Luckily. And yeah, she was unimpressed with my like, to her, the first thing you start with, and this is probably a good idea for all games, is with figuring out what kind of data you need to store and stuff. And that is not what I did. So do we fix this one? Yes. This one's busted because they don't have the faction data thing. So let's run this again. We only have 4 current, factions, and I like everyone's going to start with only 1 county at the beginning. All right, so this broke before, and the problem is we're doing away with this. So this player faction thing is now an auto load. So like I said, this globals is we're going to kind of convert this. We're going to kind of change around how this works, and we're going to get rid of a lot of it. And this is the first one. This is just going to go, and that's going to break like 600 things. Come on. Check if player faction. Yeah, we're going to move like tons of this shit around and reduce this and set this up as like the developer options for a lot of it, which is why I was adding to that list that on my project. This thing is what we're gonna have, like a hidden panel for just developing, so we can adjust things, like a ton of this stuff, because we're gonna have so much balancing issues. We should actually build this, because I just deleted that player thing, and it's gonna really jack shit up. 28. Yeah, how much time do I have? 3 minutes. Big Bob, thank you for the follow. We're gonna need this. I'm gonna try to do like a bunch of these really fast. What's your problem? Yeah, so we move this to auto load, and I think this might have to be turned into a dictionary when we do multiplayer. I'm not sure. What? Had some sort of save issue there. There's going to be quite a lot of these. I bet you after we're done fixing all these, they're going to come back. We'll do another build, and then there'll be more. Yeah, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that. I need to mess. So I have another game that I'm working on offline, not very frequently, that is just multiplayer. It's like just a really basic multiplayer game. And I need to work on that more so I can know what I'm going to run into. Because, you know, there's like the synchronization nodes that I'm going to need to use. It's the whole thing. I shouldn't have waited so long. I know I keep saying that, but to get to the multiplayer thing. Yeah, this is... I guess I could just find replace. I'm always scared of doing that. Because I feel like I'm going to find replace something wrong. Here's that stupid thing. It's been like a year since I've seen that stupid thing. Whoa. We're getting there though. Okay, maybe not. Close eventually. We already fixed that one. Those are the other two I just did. And we'll do these and I'll call it a day. We'll raid someone today since I didn't raid anyone yesterday since we were gossiping. But I'll just, once the auto load update here. Yeah, I'm scared of the find replace because there must have been something catastrophic that happened in my life and now I'm scarred. Where I found replaced and I replaced something wrong. You know what I mean? Man, more crappy music. Okay, remember we're not that... Oh, man, I thought we were closer. All right, we'll do it anyways. We'll finish it before I call it a day. We got one more in here. What's this last one? Man, I did not, it doesn't feel like I use the player data thing all the time, the player faction data all the time, but I guess obviously I do. I know, even then, it's like, the problem is I start going too fast. As I hit replace, I start going too fast. And I go, oh no, that was fine, that was fine, that was fine. And then I catastrophically break something. You know what I mean? My thought process doesn't keep up with my clicking. Oh, no, it can. I've definitely done, I think it's Control H. Yeah, and then you just hit like the next one, I think. No, not new line. You know, you can go, I would need something. You can go this guy, you know, Control H, and then, but we would want the globals one. Yeah, instead of replace all, you just hit replace. Like I said, I go too fast that way. Same when I play other, you know, I used to stream on my other channel, which I haven't 100% stopped that, but on my video game channel, a lot of times that would be the YouTube comments would be like, you're going too fast. All right, this is the last one. And then, like, I remember somebody was very upset about my CK3 stream because they were like, you're going too fast, or you're missing too many important things. And I was like, they aren't important to me, obviously. Like, in my head, I said that. I did not post a response to YouTube comment. All right, I think that was the last one. One last build here. We're still going to have bugs, but they're going to be different bugs. That was just the thing because I changed the player data. And then we'll find somebody raid. Okay, well, maybe we'll look at this last bug. It's one last bug? What's your problem? Oh yeah, and it's this thing. Auto load dot. I wonder if I'm just moving my problems around here, though. I guess as long as we get rid of the parallel lists, get the fuck out of there. Yeah, the parallel lists are bad, and multiple times I can remember me saying, "Why are there two of these things? Why are we doing this over here and then something over there?" I guess we fixed it. That was surprisingly painless. Like, literally, I thought we were going to be spending hours doing that. Well, that's not right. Oh, wait, no, this one is right because there's not enough. And for this terrain, there isn't enough events. So the problem we have right now, though... No, I guess not. We don't have a problem right now. Well, we do have a problem, but let's see. So currently when we're hitting play, we're going through the game generation. It's generating all the whole game. It saves, well, not the whole game. Currently just the faction data, but we're going to have it generate the whole game. So it generates the faction data, and then it saves it to disk, and then it goes to here. But we're not reading it from disk. We're reading it from the same list, basically. That is from here. What we need to do is when we actually switch to here, the first thing that should do is load everything from disk. That should be the first thing in this order. When we go back to this one, yeah, it's the same thing. We'll click load and it will load everything. So the first thing that ever happens on main is it should load from disk. That is every time. There's no time you would ever load main without it loading from disk first. So I'm going to put a note in so that I know that's exactly where we're at. And this is just for, I'm going to edit this. We are not doing this anymore. Get out of here. Dash. And then we'll add a new thing here. Load all data for main from disk first thing immediately. And what is this? Oh, we did that. I just did that in a flurry today. And those aren't, yeah. And then we're going to move this to the top. So this will be the first thing we do next weekend. Let's see, though. I'm surprised that actually went that painlessly. Let's play this and watch it implode. See how many bugs we get. 6. Oh, 4. I mean, 4 is better than 6, but I assume 6. So it's gonna be the same thing where it doesn't know what this stuff is. Yeah, so like this data isn't set yet. When we ran it through the generating the game thing, it was set because we generated. That's what the resources are. That's what Godot resources are. That's what they already are. That's what anything with data then is a Godot resource. So which is the same as scriptable objects. And so that's what I'm. So this is the key thing, and I don't know if this is going to work. Many people have come into chat and said that this will not work. I'm trying it anyways. And so I'm going to close this thing and this thing. Godot has a built-in thing called a resource saver, which is the equivalent of like the scriptable objects in Unity. Why the fuck is this open? Oh, because we just did that. I don't know why there's can't get to the X there. And so what I'm trying to do is in my save, we can close all this crap pretty much. My save game here, which is here somewhere, I guess I should just clicking close all but pinned, and then bring this back up because there was too many things. Open. My cat has found out that if he just comes and screams really loud sitting next to me, I will do something to stop him, like which usually is feed him. Sometimes he just wants to be petted though. And like I'll be working like in a meeting or something for work. And yeah, I can't pet him. He's never thrown up except for the other day, except for one time. I was in a meeting for work and I heard my cat making this crazy noise and I was like, I gotta go look what my cat is doing, and he was throwing up. Anyways, so the custom resources, which are like the scriptable objects, are gonna be, I'm using this resource saver that you can just save this to disk with this, and I did it in my other game and it worked pretty well. And then this is the current save game file, and you can open it up and it has, these are, this is the directory in the game. So this is like the faction data is, the type of resource, and then this is each one of them is being saved because I read them from disk and now they're being saved to disk, and this is the actual save thing. So I'm trying it this way. The thing is, like I said, chat doesn't think this is probably going to work, and I also think it might not work either, but I want to try it this way. I want to use Godot's built-in stuff to the highest potential. I want to use it as much as I can. We have 4 new files, huh? Oh, we do. A cat, not your cat. So does some cat just came over and hang out? My cat is a neighborhood cat, but it took a long time for me to get it to be friendly enough to hang out. Sorry, my chair rolled over my cord. This allows users to run arbitrary code. Absolutely. They're gonna run whatever they. It's just gonna be a exploit mess. And I went through a securing code conversation with ChatGPT and some humans, and it's really a pain in the ass. But yeah, I guess they could repackage it and run arbitrary code. They would have to copy it and re-release it. They can cheat. Cheating is allowed. We will have to deal with that. We'll have to encrypt the resource file, which can be done, but we'll have to deal with that to avoid cheating, because I'm gonna do multiplayer for that. So what did we do today? We actually moved faction generation to game generation. Also saved it to disk for real. So let's push this stuff and let's start looking for someone to raid. Let's see here. Where's my raid button? Here do we got? Search Godot. Search Godot engine. Or just Godot. A lot of people I don't know on here, which is interesting. Maybe it's because it's Sunday. I usually raid people on Sunday. I feel like I've raided so many people at this point. Let me move this over. What we got here? Yeah, thanks for dropping by, and thanks for the follow. And let's see, we want less people. I like people with a face. This guy doesn't need my help. These are all Godot people. This person has 7. Here's this person with tempura cat. That's a kind of a face. These people all have 1. This person's just started streaming that 6 minutes ago. A beginner, Godot. Jerry likes greens. He's doing a game jam. GD script. Do we have any C#? It was surprisingly productive. I assumed it would be much more excruciatingly painful, but like renaming stuff. that's not that hard. And thanks for dropping by, and thanks for the help. That ugly dude. Godot Might and Magic remake. Monsters browsing tools bug fixes. What? All right, we have to look at Might and Magic. I used to love Might and Magic. We have to look at this guy's stuff. So let's read this guy, the ugly dude. I'm not being mean. That's his name. All right, so let's click this. We'll do this button too. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will talk to you next weekend. Yeah, just, dude, this ugly guy. Yeah, and I'll text you next week unless for some reason I decide to stream during the week, but that's rare. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'll talk to you later. Bye.